Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hallows. Flashback, a Monster of the Week story here on Dice Priori. This is our 33rd episode and the second part of the finale for our flashback arc, our retro arc, featuring these characters. We appreciate you all being here. Before I kick it over to one of my fellow players, let me just go through a couple of quick channel stuff. We've got this going on Tuesday nights when we can. Wednesdays, you should be looking out for the return of Ghost in the Machine in maybe in the spring or summer. We'll see what happens there. There's no more Tales from Gashari. We're done with that. So Ghost in the Machine will be returning. And when it returns, I'll announce the system soon. I think I probably already said it on stream, but whatever. And then on Saturdays we have Cold Suns, and Mondays we have Goon Saloon, which will be starting with Call of Cthulhu on Mondays here pretty soon for about a 6-episode arc. I'll be playing in that Call of Cthulhu, and Tom Tomster, a professional person, will be GMing. Pretty exciting. We're teenagers. I don't know. As always, thank you so much for joining the stream, and make sure you're following and all that stuff. We appreciate having you here. I'll go ahead and kick it over to one of my fellow players. How about Maria?
That's me. Hello, I'm Maria. I use they and she pronouns. I can be found on the internet at Happy Capster, and I am playing a younger version of Hector Bartholomew, who uses he and him pronouns, and in this flashback arc is using the Searcher playbook.
Matthew, did you introduce your character?
Oh, I'm playing Franklin Hart the Mundane, also known as Frankie. We both use he, him pronouns.
I'm Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter, and tonight I am Roisin Byrne. I'm using the Initiate playbook. Alexis. Oh my goodness. Raids.
That double raid though.
What the hell? Oh,
Double
hey!
raid.
Thank you so much!
Hello!
Thank you, Chromatic Chimera and other Doc, for the raid. We really appreciate that.
Impeccable time.
It's so nice to be loved. We're just getting started here, too. So, perfect timing. We love to have you here. Make sure you're all following, and we appreciate having you here. Okay.
Hello. I'm the disembodied voice of Alexis. You can find me at Vox Finato. I use she, her pronouns. And this evening, I will be playing Andromeda, who uses the Chosen playbook and she, they pronouns. And she got snakes for hair. Because she's a Gorgon. And they, they're ready to kick some butt. Ty!
I'm Ty, and I'm your keeper for this and all evenings here in Hallows. And we'll do a quick recap of this arc, I guess, and the last episode. The 1980s Shadow Wolves fought some Shadow Wolves. They met an enigmatic character named Elle, who Hector befriended. They investigated various mysteries around the town of Hallows. And specifically last episode, when we left off, Roisin, Frankie, and Andromeda had gone to check out a strange well while they were doing a patrol throughout the forest around town. And Hector had just rolled a 10+ to discuss matters with Elle about Elle's kind of powers and abilities and their nature / where they came from. So when we resume this evening, we start around that very well. It is nighttime in Hallows. I think it's just about 7 o'clock. It is getting dark, if not all the way dark currently. And the three of you stand around this well. After having just thrown a coin in and hearing it drop a very long time later hit the ground.
We also threw burning shit in there to see how it worked, and it got weird.
Yeah, it did. The burning shit got weird. Correct.
I remembered something.
You did, yeah, good.
Wow, that's groundbreaking stuff.
I did it.
So this here well is I forgot Frankie's voice.
It's okay, Frank.
Kind of like Boston, but like by way of North Dakota.
Remember? Say wicked weird?
Wicked weird.
Wicked weird.
Oh, this well is wicked weird. So this well here is like I can't do it. Frankie's got a new voice. It's you know. Go next. Go next.
Pass.
This well here is how you might say it's I lost his voice. This well.
How do you say wicked weird?
He
Wicked.
just stares at this well for about 15 minutes, just trying to talk, while Roisin and Andromeda just stare at him.
It's wicked weird, this well, huh? Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, it's wicked weird.
Fuck.
Yeah. Gosh. So do we think this connects?
Sure. I don't know, but if here's
If
what
it connects, I'm like,
I don't know if I care if it connects. Like, the hatch is what I found. We know the monster in there. I feel like we know more about the hatch than we do about this well.
we found Hatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Emma speaking. Can someone remind me of our goal here?
I don't know. Did we have one?
Are we just examining it?
Correct. Yeah, I think it was just you guys decided. I think this was the purpose. You guys decided to do a patrol around the forest to kind of just see what else you could find after Frankie found the hatch and you found this.
Got it. Okay.
An alternate entrance, but we don't know if it is. I'm all for just going back to the hatch and kicking the monster's ass. Then again, I probably will die. So there are some downsides to that plan.
I think there's a lot of downsides to that plan. You were in its mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's right. This thing had a mouth. Oh, God.
And eyes and teeth and a very large tongue.
Yep. It sure did. I'm remembering everything now. It's all coming back. It's all coming
Yeah, but this well has given us more
back.
questions. It doesn't really solve anything.
That's like seems to be a running theme here in this town.
Yeah.
Are there any like weird auras around this? Well,
Are you just what are you doing to figure that out?
well, I guess I'll do what I did last time. Take some of that oil and rub it on my body. See what happens.
Okay, yeah. Roll
Where
use
I
magic.
go.
Investigate with the use magic ability.
Roll,
She rubs the
roll plus
poison on
wicked
her
weird.
skin.
Alas, that's a failure, so I just get real high.
It seemed like Frankie was choking for like 30 minutes. Your eyes, your pupils just dilate as you stare at Frankie. Is currently what happens.
You okay there? Oh, we're in the blink loop. Okay, it's gonna take her about 3 minutes to realize I asked her a question. So. Did
Yes,
we
I'm
did
fine.
we get told? Sorry, Matthew? Did you tell us that Frankie was like in your head? Not Frankie. Frankie's in your head. That that Hector was in your head. You were in Hector's head.
Yeah.
I got it right. Eventually, we got there.
Yes, because I went slump in the van, and I think I was driving.
Right.
Yes,
you were
correct.
driving and you
Yeah.
slumped
Driving in
over.
the
That's what
van.
happened. Yes. That's right.
God.
Oof.
And I wouldn't tell Hector where we are, because obviously.
And where the other entrance to the tunnel was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, maybe what we need to do is find a map of the town, mark this on the map, mark the hatch on the map.
This was like how far away? Like
A mile or so.
mile
Yeah.
or 2 miles?
Yeah, it was a couple
somewhere
miles.
in
It was like it was a
between
mile
there?
and a half between the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Frankie, if anyone, you would probably know the best. You have a layout of the town in your head or a map.
I do, because I'm a delivery driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could draw you a map right now.
Do it. We should mark on there where these entrances are in case they mean something.
This is me drawing a map.
Excellent
I'm going
work.
to draw it
Look
on the
at
back
that.
of a pizza box, because it's one of those like old-fashioned white ones that just says pizza, you know? Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. You make your way back to the van to draw out a map and
Thank you for the raid.
Oh, thank you, Untold Stories Project, for the raid. That's our 3rd raid tonight. We love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Wicked weird.
the three of you, I guess, head back to Frankie's van to draw a map and kind of plot out whatever you're going to do next. As we fade across town to the basement, where Hector sits across from Elle. Yes, you asked for more in-depth explanation of my abilities. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Or maybe perhaps I misunderstood. Was it something else?
No, it was I guess you never really. I don't quite understand how these things work and how you are able to do things like talk to people who aren't here and summon things or whatever it is that you can do. So, how does one harness that? How do you do it?
Well, those two things are not, in my experience, from the same kind of area. The whole talking to people thing, I think I've been able to do some extent of that as far back as I can remember. I always thought I was just good at, reading people, figuring them out, but as I grew older, I could hear what they were thinking and feeling. And as I practiced it and honed it more, I was able to send my own thoughts, converse. So how I learned how to do it, I don't really have an answer. It's just something that's always been innate. But how I've learned to do so much with it is practice.
But this is something that anyone can anyone. I've never been able to use anything like that before.
No, I
Right.
don't. I haven't met anyone that I've quite that has been able to initiate it on their own, as far as I know, as far as that I've experienced in this town. The connection I have with you and Frankie is something I have not experienced yet.
Right. So what you're saying is it's odd that I could communicate with Frankie in that way. I've never done that before.
The whole situation. Oh, yes, that was unexpected. But I think this whole kind of thing is a little bit of uncharted territory for me. Exposing you, are you both getting exposed to some of my abilities, and exposing yourself through blood, I think, may have.
Right.
It stares at you.
So what are other things currently that you can do? I mean, you have a list of things that you want to do.
Well, as I said before, they're not necessarily. And he pulls out the same list you saw before, that says inflicting harm, barring a place or portal to a specific person or creature, communicate with something that you do not share a language with, observe another place or time, things like that. The list goes on. These are fairly new, this kind of application, and it doesn't feel the same as when I talk. it's magic. It's something that I've read a little bit about here and there. It's something that didn't necessarily come innately, but I've practiced. It's hard. He kind of is searching for the words to kind of describe something that he doesn't quite know how to quantify, if that makes sense. He is a scientist, but isn't necessarily.
It's not his field of expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You rolled a 10 plus. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get something extra. I can tell you that the book that you have, or Frankie has, I'm not sure which one of you has it at this point in time. It isn't some sort of special tome I happened upon. It's just something that helps me focus. It's something I can do my magic and do my abilities throughout.
But it's blank.
Yep. It's a fancy journal.
If you had that, what sort of you can you do things, magical things or anything like that without it? I mean, obviously
I can. It's a little harder and it's not as consistent. It helps to have that, but it doesn't. I don't think it necessarily needs to be that one. I haven't practiced much with others, but.
Do you know of other things like that?
A focus?
Yeah.
I've heard of. I mean, you have seen movies. You've read books. I mean, wands and stabs and stuff like that. I could try. I haven't, but
Just seems like a book is come with them.
I've always enjoyed reading and writing. And he gestures to the dozens of notebooks filled with notes around him, and a library shelf just full of books as well.
I think Hector will just sort of absentmindedly just pick one up and just kind of flip it open to whatever, just kind of seeing the sorts of things that he writes. And he'll close it and put it down and say, I don't know why the rest of my companions, they don't like you too much. I don't.
Well, I think we have from the one conversation we all had, I think we have very different outlooks on the supernatural is probably part of it. I think as well, they just are maybe a little cliquey. I don't know. I don't know them that well.
I wonder if you and I uncover something here maybe just shifting your focus somewhere else, not your book focus, but your focus, maybe shifting it down. If we can find something, maybe we can convince them that you and also I have the right idea, we know what we're talking about.
That's fair. What kind of discovery do you think would bend them in that direction?
Well, that parchment you showed me was a little concerning. If maybe there's monsters, right? There's monsters, there's magic, there's odd things that happen.
Sure.
If we can find either the source of it, of why things are happening here, or if we're able to and or stop and or control it to the point where maybe it's less dangerous or more predictable.
I would love to find out the cause of this and the source of this. I don't I don't want people to be hurt and monsters to run rampant, but I also don't want to close off. I don't want to stop everything. The magic, the supernatural,
Well, then we can focus on maybe controlling it, mitigating,
discovering more.
and also maybe mitigating some collateral anything.
Yes.
You know. Okay. What let me make sure. Make sure I didn't already ask this question.
Sure.
Because I've asked so many questions before. Besides that fun parchment that you were given, what other things have you found out about this town? About the weird things that are happening here? Anything? I use the term definitive lightly.
The list of definitive things I've found, I believe that this specific place, I don't know if there are others like it, but there seems to be a concentration of supernatural activity here as opposed to other places. I don't believe it is isolated to just this town. There are stories of supernatural around the world. It's not just, and they may be sparse or inconsistent, but I don't believe this is the only place they happen. But I do believe it is more here, and especially recently in increasing volume. As stated before, I don't believe it's all bad. Yes, there is obviously negatives that have come with it, but I don't believe closing it off and just killing everything is the right solution either.
So you've said some general things. Have you not discovered anything specific about the? How you've been here for 2 years almost?
I've lived here since I was born.
Oh well. No.
I recently I have investigated more. I've begun my research more in earnest about 2 years ago. Maybe a couple more.
Has this town always been this way?
Not to this extent. I believe there have always been some sort of odd occurrences here and there, but nothing to, a monthly to bi-monthly occurrences. No, not until recently.
And forgive me if I ask this, my memory is not as good as it used to be. When did it start to kind of accelerate?
I believe the accelerate, as far as I can tell, the accelerate, it wasn't nearly on a month basis, maybe a few sporadic occurrences throughout a year, maybe a couple years ago when I started this, but ever slowly increasing in volume to a point now where it seems to be once a month or twice a month. Not entirely consistently, but. Oh, and I'm sorry, there is another answer I have for your question. Previously, you were asking about discussing over long distances and stuff like that, things I can do with the powers I've always had. What I do with my appearance is from that as well. That is why your friends haven't been able to, why you weren't able to remember what I looked like.
So when you say that there's two different things, is it different kinds of magic? Is it
it doesn't
like language, like English versus French, It's the same but different.
It feels more like, not that I was ever into this, but sports. You know,
You're talking to the
volleyball
wrong
and
person.
okay, yeah, same, but same category, different things. They feel vastly different. The thing I do with talking to people or reading people, I've always been able to do it. It's grown in strength the more I've practiced it. And he, as you look at him, his form changes again, and you see the form that you recognized before with short hair, well, better composed, and then it lifts again, and you see the longer hair, the eye patch. This is one of the newer, more finessed applications of that. When I practice the magic with, summoning things or discussing things, it feels different. Maybe in a very vague frame, but they don't feel the same to use. The book that helps me focused with, discussing, being able to communicate with things or observe things, I've never needed that to read people. But clearly it has some connection, as you and Frankie were able to connect to me through it. So there is bleed over, but I don't think of them as the exact same thing, if that makes sense.
In as much of sense as it can, yeah. Yeah.
Anything else? Would you like to? We can research here as long as you want for the night, or.
Yeah. If I have any other questions, I assume neither of us are really going anywhere.
No.
Okay. I'll poke around his funny books and baubles and stuff.
You spend how late are you? Are you going to crash there? Or are you going to stay up all night there? Do you have a specific?
Well, I did tell Gretchen. She was waiting until evening.
Yeah.
I think.
Correct.
Jeez.
But she hasn't been able to find anyone else yet.
Also true. I think there is a moment when the evening is definitely pushing on, that Hector looks at a watch that he has, or a clock on the wall, and sees it's getting 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yeah. And he remembers Gretchen saying that she was going to wait until evening and then come and find. He's like, get everybody else and find him. And he looks around at just this sea of stuff that he's laid out, because I'm sure it's all fascinating. Some of it might be stuff that he already knows, but just discussing things with someone who understands things in a way that he does.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a point
addictive.
in that. Yeah. There is a point where you guys spend a good hour, because you gave him the materials you got from one of the monsters. That was one of the
that fishy acid thingy.
Yeah, that was one of the things you had to do because of the role. But you spent a while discussing.
I also brought my goo gun to show him, and
he observes it. He doesn't know that's not his area of expertise at all. But he is he enjoys seeing and hearing you explain it. I think he's definitely observing that knowledge or absorbing that knowledge. And you guys do take a while to look at the pieces of this previously defeated monster, kind of maybe take an X-Acto knife to it, try to carve a piece off, kind of observe its properties.
Yeah. And I think when he realizes the time, there's a moment where he's like, oh, I gotta go. And then he stops and instead thinks they'll understand this is worth it and will stay the rest of the night.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You he brings down some coffee or tea, both, and some microwavable hamburgers.
Yeah. Good.
Just
great. It's so good. That's that brain food.
Oh, And then the scene fades. And we cut back to the other team as you are now in a van. It is now 7 o'clock, so time rewinds a little bit. What do you guys do? You are parked outside of the forest.
I want to forget I ever heard that last sentence.
Have you guys ever had those? They are so disgusting.
Yes, I have.
As kids all the time, man.
Yeah, disgusting.
The worst microwavable food.
No,
It's the worst.
I don't
It's
want
like
that.
squishy.
It's the microwave bud for me. Fucking earthworm like meat. Yeah, I've had them.
No thanks.
I was drawing a map. I'm actually not sure why or what we're doing here, but
Yeah, we have no idea what's happening anymore.
Sheen's just holding a pizza box, staring at a map, still alive.
Yeah. Rasheen still hasn't registered that Andromeda asked her a question. She's in
Frankie just hands it to her, and she's like holding it, staring right at it. Absolutely not thinking about the map.
Oh, I'm not muted. Oops.
So, what do we need? I don't have a voice.
I think we're doing great.
So, what are you looking for to where you like? I mean, what's the plan?
I don't know. Should we jump in?
I mean, I thought we should have done that in the first place, but
Well, you did that, and it was very bad. There was like a mouth and all that.
yeah, but now
I
there's
got the
3 of
recap.
us.
If there were 3 of us, maybe. I don't know.
Should be 4, but Hector's busy. Choices.
And Gretchen, right?
I don't think you guys know about Gretchen. I think you just know that Gretchen went with Hector, and I think that's okay. Here's what you know. You know Hector went with Gretchen, but yeah, you did not see Gretchen there.
Exactly. I saw Elle. I did not see Gretchen.
Correct.
Yeah, no, Gretchen, as far as I know, is like chilling somewhere. We could try to find Gretchen if we want to go where there's 4.
That might make the most sense because with 2 of us, we did 0 work on that. Nothing. Nada.
Yeah, but we're not the warrior. So yeah, let's go get Gretchen. We'll have 2 fighters. Me.
Do you want to go down this well then, or do we want to go somewhere else?
I wanna
like down that hatch from before.
I want to go down the hatch because I know what's there.
Okay. You guys seem to have your plan. Is your plan to head back to Meaty Morsels?
Yeah, we're looking for Gretchen.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's not a super far drive. You drive back pretty quickly as you enter Meaty Morsels. The lights are on, but the closed sign is lit up, and you see Gretchen. She's got a gun and is holding her sword, and is laying out any other equipment she has.
That's my girl.
Hey, have you guys seen Hector? We were supposed to meet up at evening, and he hasn't been there. He said he was going to be fine, was going to go with Elle, and I hasn't been back.
Yeah, I thought you 2 went to talk to him together.
We did, and then Hector made a very compelling argument for him to go alone, and I trust him in his decision making.
Does his trusted decision making involve pulling Frankie into his own consciousness?
He looks confused, and then looks to Frankie.
Frankie just shrugs. It's a thing. It happened.
I mean, that's wicked weird.
Yeah.
It is. It's wicked weird.
I mean, so what's the plan? I mean, I don't know. Do you think he's in danger? Well, you saw him. Does he think he's in danger? Frankie?
The kind of danger he is in, he's in danger of himself. From himself.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
But as far as I'm concerned, that's his bed to make. I'm not paternalistic, so more power to him. I'll be here when he crashes. You know?
I'm hoping he doesn't crash, but I'm here to, you know.
Just
I mean,
concerned about collateral damage myself. But let's anyway, it's neither here nor there kind of right now. We have no control over any of that.
Yeah.
So we found another entrance to this weird ass tunnel.
okay.
But we don't know what's down the other entrance. So we want to go back to the first entrance that they found. We figured we'd swing by here.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the stories, and, it's been a stressful night. She picks up a gun and a sword.
Yeah, and you can't be killed because you don't die for another 30 years.
What?
What?
What's
So
horrifying?
we're all just gonna hide behind you.
God damn it.
I'm gonna hide behind your plot armor and hope for the
Yeah,
best.
that's right.
Okay, yeah, I can, and she picks up her weaponry. You driving, Frankie?
Yeah, I've only passed out once, twice while driving, I think.
Yeah, one of those was outside of your control. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to do with that.
So we should be fine.
Sure, her glance goes to Roisin. Roisin, what are you doing?
She's staring at
She's actually still back there holding the pizza box.
In the van. Pretending to drive.
Picture Gretchen.
Oh yeah, also by the way, Roisin is high. So.
I'm picturing Gretchen looking to Roisin as like a voice of reason, and Roisin's bombed out of her mind.
I've had so much hell war.
Wasn't it earlier today she did drugs?
She's done Hellbore like 3 times.
Yeah.
At least twice now. At least twice.
So, feeling really good. I have fully leapt over to the other side. I think that Roisin would probably be doing while everybody was talking about this, she would have done a reading to see what the cards say about going on this, going back down the tunnels. But she's also not really paying attention to what the cards say because she really doesn't want to go back into the tunnels.
So she kind of absentmindedly pulling cards.
Yeah, I think she'd be pulling cards and then maybe kind of like look up at Gretchen and look back at the cards and kind of like very subtly shake her head and keep pulling cards.
All right. You okay, sweetie?
Yes.
You got your sniper rifle?
I have a sniper rifle?
Oh boy. She's
Yes, I know I have a sniper rifle.
All right, let's go. Frankie, everyone's ready. Everyone's in the van. Let's go. Let's get wild.
I want it on the record that I think this is really stupid.
Do we have a better idea?
We never do. But we always try.
I mean, we can wait the night for Hector if you want. We can also, go in if we're not in the mood to be waiting. I don't mind either way. I don't mind jumping ahead first and getting out some steam.
The way I see it is, if Hector finds out where this thing is... Sorry, when Hector finds out where this is, Hector will tell Elle.
That's assuming Elle doesn't know it's there.
That's right.
I don't think y'all does.
My problem is that we don't know anything about this creature, and we didn't even make a dent in it. And actually, Frankie couldn't even see what it looked like.
I was inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I rolled high enough that I saw eyes. So Roisin saw eyes.
Do we want to try to research? I'm not good at that.
That always goes so
We could
well
try.
in this game. We should definitely do
I don't know. I'm just.
Do you have
spitballing
a
here.
move, don't you, Andromeda? Don't you have a move for that or something?
For researching?
No. For like knowing, didn't you have something for knowing creatures, or is that not you?
I don't think
good.
that's me.
Good detector. Fantastic.
I don't think it's me.
Nope, maybe not. I thought you did.
Just say that you
I
do.
have 2.
Sure, yes, I've got that.
Yeah, it says
What do I
that.
have?
It lets me know everything.
Yeah, actually, now
What do you
that
want me to
think of it.
roll? Sharp? I can roll
Oh.
sharp.
Wait a minute. Wait.
So you rolled something during the fish monster, and I gave you something. I don't. Maybe it was just a regular.
That
roll.
was dramatic
someone.
entrance, wasn't it?
I don't think it was any of those things.
Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't you.
I think I just used one of the generic moves.
You could have too. That is an option.
Because I
did
know
you
I
have something,
did
Roshi?
that.
Yes, I have a move that I don't remember if I've used yet or not.
I don't think you have.
Fine, we know how to play this.
Where at the beginning of each mystery.
Yeah.
Can I?
I
I don't remember if I did that or not. Did I do
you
that?
haven't yet. I will send you something.
Well, don't I have to roll?
Oh yeah, you do have to roll, but I'm going to send you something. But roll
Okay.
first.
Okay.
The old start of the mystery move at the end of it.
Well,
I
but
did-
when we
to be
talked
fair,
about it,
yeah, we did talk
we
about
changed.
that.
We changed it for
Because it wouldn't
an
have made
arc
sense
like
for,
this.
for the way this deck works.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that's what Andromeda did use that too mid arc.
It's amazing, is what it is.
It's supposed to charm, by the way.
Yeah,
What'd you get?
10.
Oh, good. Yeah, I will send you something.
Now I'm nervous.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine.
It's all fine.
It's fine.
Nothing bad ever happens when we ask questions in this game.
Or
Nah.
pull cards.
What
It's
cards
fine.
did you pull, actually, while Ty is busy typing up what you are learning?
I have reverse temperance and reverse star,
Oh!
which is like the opposite of good. Like reverse star is the exact opposite of good.
Yep. Hmm.
That's literally like obstacles, challenges, things are hopeless.
Good. Great.
Well, considering someone's chosen and we know how someone ends up,
Yeah,
I don't
so
think that's incorrect.
feeling good. I have to consult to. I have never pulled the temperance card before. I don't think.
It's reverse.
Yeah.
so-
It's not. It's real fun to in conjunction with the reverse star. It's
Yep.
real good.
Yep. It's all real great. It's all real great.
And the high priestess.
Oh,
I think we're fine.
we're doing this.
I think we're
Oh.
fine.
Okay then. Okay then. It's all fine. It's all fine.
Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate this.
Did you draw more?
No,
Oh, it's
I
what
looked
you're-
up.
what's
I
Ty's
looked up
sending you.
reverse.
Right,
No,
right.
I looked up reverse temperance because I didn't know what it meant, but it makes sense. And yep, reckless decisions. Here we go. That was the first one I pulled. So
I mean, we are about to go back into the very bad tunnel.
So what you see is, as Roshin is in a van, Roshin just leaves the van and goes back into the building.
She went back into meaty morsels.
She went back. She could have given an explanation or a reason, but she went back into meeting morsels.
I think that Andromeda would have seen Roshin like kind of like looking at her cards and mumbling to herself and then getting out and going inside. And I think that she would be able to surmise that she's going to go to her books or do something.
I think Andromeda will just kind of look at Frankie, look at Gretchen, kind of shrug, and get up and follow Roshin.
Frankie's gonna crank up the music. Some white
What you
snake.
playing? What do you got going
I
on,
don't know.
Frankie? What kind of jams?
Some white snake or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good hunting music. I like a good John Bon Jovi myself.
Hey, when I get back, can you put on Joy Division? Thanks.
There's probably a booklet of cassettes that Frankie has. While Roshin is figuring this out, we will switch briefly to Hector. Is there anything else you do with the? Is there anything else that happens during this rest of this night, or do you guys fall asleep researching, or like studying together?
It depends
Otherwise-
on what happens with Roshin for me, I think.
No, sorry, Hector. Hector.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just that while Roshin is doing this to tie it up.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in particular that he wants to do other than absorb as much information as possible. Because part of him doesn't know how willingly everyone else is going to let him come back later, so he's going to try to retain as much information as possible. While he's here.
Yeah, roll plus sharp.
Roll something.
Roll plus sharp.
Okay. It's that button. It's a 5. I don't know why I trusted roll 20 to roll anything good for me because it never does.
trust roll 20.
Never trust that. That was a 5. It's a failure.
Okay.
It's fine. All of it's going to a good cause.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Failures don't matter.
Listen, if there's one thing Hector's good at, it's remembering things. So it's fine. I'm only a couple XP from leveling, and that will be my 5th level up as an aside.
Amazing.
As baby
Flawless.
Hector.
Baby Hector is almost as leveled as regular Hector.
Correct. This is correct.
Yeah, you try to, like, it is a lot of information being processed at once, and I think eventually you just you pass out in a chair,
Yeah,
like with after studying.
that makes sense.
It is now back to Roshin. Are you good, Roshin? Are you coming out of that building yet?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you, Anonymous, for gifting those 5 subs. We really appreciate that. Thank you all so much. If anyone out there, make sure to... Well, you can't thank Anonymous, but, go ahead and type it out anyway. And, yeah, if you're enjoying tonight's stream, make sure you're following. Consider subscribing, gifting subscriptions. We appreciate your support. Help us keep the lights on. Okay, continue.
Okay. Roshin walks out of the building.
Yeah. Looking very grim.
Is she saying anything?
She's probably mumbling to herself. And she'll get back in the car.
What did you do when you were inside? Because Andromeda's just kind of following you.
She would have been looking at books and writing in them furiously.
Oh. What you writing?
Do you look over her shoulder?
If I don't get a side eye that says don't do it,
You would have gotten a side eye.
then I don't.
Okay. So she gets back in the car and she kind of sits there. So, first of all, I want you to know that the cards are saying this is a really rash decision that's going to end in something bad.
Oh, great.
But I'm not talking like, destructive bad. I'm talking like hopelessness bad. Or that our efforts might be hopeless, that there might be nothing that we're going to glean here. But also, so I did a little bit of research. So it is a concern that it kept itself hidden until Frankie was in its mouth. Then it moved.
Oh.
It was a tunnel to us.
Yeah.
Right, like I was talking about with that movie, like a space worm in the asteroid, yeah. Okay. Didn't know about it till it was too late. Got it. Okay. So, like, was it just that you couldn't tell that that's what it was? Or, like, could you literally just, was it not visible in some way?
She kind of looks towards Frankie. Because I think Frankie was ahead.
Yeah. Light and everything was pretty trippy down there. I would say it was a bit of both, but there was no. I mean, we couldn't see teeth or nothing. It was blending in. It looked like a tunnel. Which we know all this already.
But in addition to that, that means that it is possible, if we wanted to do something incredibly risky, we might be able to hurt it from its insides.
Yeah. I chipped
Or-
one of its tooth.
Or, you know, we could give it a little drink of gasoline and throw a torch down there.
It did have a dry tongue.
We could see what happens. Trying to light it, just light it on fire.
Yep, that is inherently risky. Light may work on it since it's a subterranean creature.
Fire produces light.
I don't know if that's the kind of light that would hurt it, but yes, fire does indeed produce light and heat.
Yeah.
Do we have gunpowder?
Yes,
Yes.
you have easy access to that for sure.
Yeah.
So we
Got
could-
bullets. We can always we can always open them up. So we can always open up a round.
It's going to take a lot. So we could do this. I don't know what we will gain from this information, except that we will have killed a massive creature down there in a set of tunnels that we don't understand.
But if we're able to kill it, then we can use the tunnel more.
We can go further.
I think you're muted, Matthew. Or either that, or we didn't hear you for some reason.
We can go further, is what I said. Once the monster's out of the way.
Well, if you all want to go and do this, I will go in support, but I do not think this is a good idea. I don't think we will all we might not walk away from this, is what I'm saying. And I don't know that these tunnels are worth any of our lives right now. But if you all want to go, I will take up the rear.
Frankie is actually looking at Andromeda, because Frankie has something on his mind right now.
Andromeda is kind of remembering the cards that she pulled with her reading with Roshin. He just kind of looks over at Roshin. Okay, there's something about when you said heard it from the inside. I'm doing the thing that I don't do very often, and I'm putting 2 and 2 together. What was it that you said about needing to, like, being encased in something? Or something needing to burst out of something?
I don't know that was this.
No?
I mean, I don't know. I have been wrong before. And everything is always very murky. Very open to interpretation. So maybe, but also maybe not.
I think that the only thing worse than facing your fate is running from it.
Starting to think I don't know what else to do. The signs are kind of pointing this way.
Yeah. I like the gasoline idea.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, and the gunpowder, Yeah, let's do it. Drop it, it's skull it, make it go.
I like a good bonfire.
Yeah. Want to be careful though, because I don't know how confined that whole space is. We don't want to burn all the oxygen out of the area.
Or cause a collapse.
Yeah.
Well, there's a forest, right?
Yeah.
So if anything collapses, it'll just be forest. It's not buildings and people.
Yeah, but we could be
Nope.
trapped.
Oh, say that again, Matthew?
We could be trapped.
How far in was the thing?
A little ways. I don't know.
It wasn't.
Oh.
It was not far.
Yeah.
How deep down was it? I don't
It was
remember.
a pretty. Going down was far. It was like 50. I think it was like 30 to 50 feet down.
Yeah.
If memory serves, but it wasn't that far forward. It was maybe like, I think he walked for like 5 minutes forward before it happened.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get
So
some.
we get something to act as like a fuse or a wick,
Yeah.
and then light it from a safer distance after we pour all the gasoline and the gunpowder in.
Yeah. I mean, I just figure like a long wick and a gas can and toss it in there,
Yeah.
Give you 10 seconds to run or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll light it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't.
You immune to fire?
I could just take it better
Okay.
than you can probably.
Yeah, I'm not
Good
immune to
thing.
fire.
No.
Have you
I
have you
think I
tried,
am
Frankie?
either, but
Well, I don't have any superpowers, actually. I like to talk a big game, but I actually don't have any superpowers. Not gonna gain any either.
So we're thinking make some sort of firebomb with a wick, light it, and hope for the best. That's our current trajectory.
some
Is that
gasoline down there, long wick, rag, something
A real big
like
Molotov
that.
cocktail.
Run.
Yeah.
all right? Yeah.
It's
So how much of gasoline? What are you guys going to get filled with gasoline? Is the first question.
a legal container.
Okay.
Yep.
You can get that without any issue. Yeah. And what are you using as a wick?
50 feet of hempen rope.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah, that.
Not much you get either of those.
I think Roshin would like to. She's gonna toss inside. Are we like throwing the gasoline canister with like a wick inside of it into the creature? Is that the plan? Since pouring it might be weird.
We could do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So then inside the canister, she's going to drop in some iron nails that have runes that are etched on them. And then she will have used her own blood on across them, and she would have tossed those in there with. And the goal with those are to... I don't have a thing in front of me. I think she's going to try to do what she did previously, in that she's going to try to, like, bind it so that it can't cause harm. Which is essentially like
capture
magic.
it?
No, so binding in a... Not physical binding. Binding in a magical sense, in terms of how prevent harm in unfolds is something she can't promise or know what that will look like, but it's the idea of preventing it from being able to do something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a ward. It functions like a ward.
Okay.
Very the craft. I bind you, Nancy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, you can roll that now or later if it works. You can choose when you want to roll it.
Whenever you think it makes sense to do that.
You can roll it when if you guys actually get this thing in there.
Okay.
Okay. Rasheen has dropped the nails in. You guys are all in the van, fully armed and loaded. As you drive to the spot, Frankie drives via memory to the spot. It is now fairly late, like 10 o'clock, after all your preparations and motive making. And you walk out and begin to approach the hatch.
All right.
Who's going down first, and with what?
Me with the chain.
Okay. And you're going... Are Frankie and Roshin... Gretchen will go down with you. Are the other two planning to go or wait?
I'm going in. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Oops. Clicky, click. Oop.
Yeah, she's going in. She's just kind of dragging her feet behind. But she is going to, despite it being a very small area, she's still bringing her sniper rifle. Just because.
Sure. Yeah, Gretchen makes her sword materialize in one hand with the shotgun in the other.
So since Roshin is the only person who's seen this thing so far, and Roshin is all high right now over the hedge, I would like, I think Andromeda's gonna just say to Gretchen, it is an enclosed space, and since we don't exactly know whether or not Elle knows about this thing or what really else is going on, do you want to keep an eye out on the other end, or?
I mean, I'd rather be down there with you. If no one else wants to take a guard out, I could do that. Sure.
Do we feel like it's? Do we feel like it's something that we need
No.
to watch our six?
I am absolutely certain that Elle doesn't know what this thing is or where it is.
Okay. Alright, good enough for me. Alright, then I guess we all go in.
Okay.
And honestly, if he shows up, I'd love it, because I'd toss him in there and have him get eaten alive.
The four of you head down. It is nearly pitch black as it was before. As you close the I assume you close the hatch behind you, if you're intending to keep this a little bit hidden. You walk down. It is the same as just previously described. It is dark. It is fairly cramped. That's about it.
Got my flashlight.
As you turn it on, same thing happens. The light begins to split off and then intertwine, kind of braiding. before dissipating. So you have a very dimly lit tunnel in front of you as this light kind of envelops, comes together, and dissipates in a continuous pattern as you continue to walk.
What about when we get to that edge where that drop is?
Well, okay, so you know the other two kind of have a good plan. As you get closer, they have a good idea of where the drop is.
Right.
And it looks. If Frankie gets close enough, you would see there it looks like an opening, and that's all you can really tell with this dim light currently. But Frankie would remember, and so would Roshin, kind of where that is.
This is where I feel.
Okay. Kind of want to take something that's like lit, like a match or something, maybe something that's a little bit bigger, and just kind of drop it down there and see if that illuminates anything on the way down.
I would assume one of you has a lighter. I mean, I don't know. Well, no, for sure, Gretchen smokes, so she hands you a lighter.
We just light something on fire, drop it down there. I don't know if it's a piece of paper from my book or something. Just
sure, you ball a piece of paper, and as soon as you light it, the fire does begin acting odd. It looks, instead of burning up, it kind of spikes out and then comes back as it like kind of breathes in. And you toss it. You can roll tough for this.
Okay.
Interesting.
If you're throwing it into the hole.
I'm just dropping it down.
You're getting that close? Because he did step into the hole and get bit. You're going to get all the way up in there?
I mean, I'm just kind of creeping forward and like edging my arm out and trying to drop it down without falling. Do I feel like my footing's not secure, or
roll. It's not that you don't.
I'm
It's
gonna
not
hook
that.
my chain.
Okay.
My thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna hook it somewhere and brace myself so that if I lose my footing, I at least have something to brace myself from falling down.
Okay.
If that's the kind of situation that we're in.
It's not necessarily that you feel like you're going to fall. From what they said, if this creature is still there, it was not a drop down, it was a drop into a mouth. It's not like there was a drop before this thing. It was just the end of the tunnel was this thing. So the concern isn't necessarily, if this thing is still there, you don't think you're gonna fall before, you think you're gonna fall into it.
Oh, I was imagining like we go in a little bit and then there's this drop down a tunnel.
No, it's a tunnel
it's
into
down
a
there,
mouth.
the pit.
He walked forward and it began to close.
Oh.
Yeah.
I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very different. This is a very different situation than I thought we were in. Okay, so the fire's acting weird.
Fire is acting weird. It is still currently, it's on the paper mostly. You see it occasionally begins to peel off before like enveloping it again.
I'm just gonna move my arm out towards this thing a little bit and see if it acts different as it gets closer to this mouth.
No.
No? Distance isn't affecting it?
No, the fire currently is still being weird. It's not, and you are not quite close enough to. The hole has nothing has happened with the hole currently at your current distance. No.
I'm just gonna look over to Roshin. You see anything with your special eyes that says we shouldn't engage with our plan?
Do I see anything with my special eyes?
You're still high, yeah. You can still see the same like glowing red orbs about 15 feet above you, and further ahead into the tunnel.
Hate that. So she'll point out wherever it is that she sees them.
Yeah, it is it looks like it kind of it went back to where it was previously. It has not moved on.
And I can only see the eyes. I can't tell where like the tunnel ends and it begins, right?
Yo, no, you can see. I think the outline of teeth, and I think you could surmise with what you know before, like kind of where it is. The teeth above each end of the hole.
I hate that. If I myself am not good with distances, however, I assume that Roisin has a better sense of that, so she'll give a distance for about when she thinks it starts.
Oh my. Okay.
Is it doing anything? Does it look like it can see us, or is it literally just not moving?
It is currently not moving.
And is it just orbs? I can't see that there's like swivelly eyes.
All you can see right now is orbs that are not currently, they don't seem to be like looking at you necessarily or moving around.
Okay.
If you want to roll to try to investigate, you might succeed in finding something else out if you'd like.
I mean, yeah, why not? What is there to lose?
Failure.
It's fine. It's just investigating. Am I using my specialized to do this?
Yeah, I think you're using
Okay.
specialized. So weird.
Oh, sweet baby. That's me. 12.
Yeah, you get a clearer picture. Well, you can ask me a question if you'd like, but what you get with the 12 before that is you get a clearer picture of this thing. The orbs are atop of 2, maybe 3 foot long stalks. It does not seem to be moving. They do not seem to be moving or looking towards you guys. Just 2 orbs above, just staying still currently. Mouth is currently open on either side. It goes back, you guess about 75 feet. Just straight from the edge of the tunnel, and it's about 50 feet up and down.
So it's fucking huge.
It's big, yeah. It's a big one.
Roisin will look horrified as she looks a little closer and sees this, and she will give the dimensions of what it is that we're looking at. Stalks? Like
Yeah, stalks.
I don't like it here.
So, I can't hear you, Vox.
Sorry, I was muted. So wait. There's stalks that end in what? Like eyes?
Yeah. Basically 2 eye stalks that are way above, now pretty high above where you guys are.
It's a big monster.
Really big.
So,
Okay.
do we want to see if it burps the fire?
That would be very bad if it did that while we're in here.
Yeah, I mean, monster hunting life.
I feel like we're gonna need to like toss and run. Like
Yeah.
toss light and run.
Yeah.
Because if it's that big, if it's thrashes at all,
We should light it, toss it, then run.
Yes.
that's the order.
I mean,
I'll toss it.
I'll light it.
I'll run.
There we go.
That's fucking teamwork, guys. We nailed it. Yeah, everyone can roll. As you kind of do this plan, you're probably going to have to roll tough Andromeda. Frankie, you can either choose tough or act under pressure, and then Roisin is probably...
Fucking acting under pressure, my man. That's what I'm good at.
Yep. Roisin is probably acting under pressure, or if you want to roll, you don't have to, because you're just leaving, basically.
Well, I mean, I think she's gonna try to keep her eye on. She's not gonna just abandon
okay.
ship.
Here's the thing. Unfortunately,
This is when I roll my.
Yeah, you're gonna roll your magic now.
Yeah.
I got a 10, baby.
It's on fire. Frankie, you lit it real good.
Assuming that helps me with my running away as well.
It will. Yeah. I'll give you some bonuses.
Trying to decide if I'm using luck on this one.
Luck is after the fact. Oh, you've already rolled it.
Yeah. I rolled an 8.
It could be a good time too.
You're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, why not edge up that Doom tracker? Yeah. Fine. Sure. We'll just use luck.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about it. Roisin?
I mean,
10.
I just want to avoid anyone else getting hurt.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm the one throwing this thing. I think we're using luck here.
Ooh, boy.
And then hauling ass.
1 second.
There's your Foley.
What?
I just did Foley.
Oh.
You're killing it.
Thank you. I'm very good at Foley.
You are.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Here's what happens. You, Frankie, you light this thing and, turn tail as you see Andromeda begin to kind of prep this makeshift hempen gasoline bomb. Roshin, you feel your spell go off, or your preparations kind of go off. And Andromeda, you hurl this thing in. And you see as soon as it passes the cusp of that tunnel, the jaws clamp down tight. As this thing the wick is lit. Fire is acting a little weird, but it is in the mouth, lit, and are you going to run too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All of you
Am
run...
I going to run away from the bomb? Yes!
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm bringing up the rear, though. I'm making sure that if there's a blast wave, I catch it.
Yeah, without much of an issue, Frankie, Roshin, and Andromeda, and Gretchen all make their way to the ladder and make their way up before the explosion. Gretchen, Andromeda, you are the very bottom of the ladder. As you hear this thing go off inside of its mouth, a couple tooth fragments kind of lodge themselves into the cave, or into these tunnel walls near you. And you hear a bellowing scream from this thing.
Shoot it!
And you... Yeah, and no flame comes out of the mouth. You don't see any flame come out of the mouth. You do smell burnt flesh, though. And that is what you see at the bottom of the stairs, at the bottom of the ladder.
Okay. If I turn and look at towards the thing, what do I see?
You see like broken teeth kind of thrashing, closing around the hole. You see flames inside of this thing as its mouth is still kind of open. And you see a tongue beginning to move and kind of thrash as it begins to feel its way around the hole. It's probably the worst phrasing I could have used for that, but here we are.
Oh,
it's too late.
Oh, honey. We've all been there.
I saw it going that way. I couldn't pull it back.
No, you can't pull it back.
Scripture in time.
No, you can't pull it.
You're really just...
Once the tongue is searching around the hole, you can't just pull it back. Right?
You can't pull it back.
Can't. Okay.
Amazing.
So can this thing like move? Sorry, its tongue is moving. Is it moving itself? Is it mobile?
You don't see this. No, you don't. What Andromeda sees, this being doesn't seem to be moving any closer. It is thrashing, but it doesn't seem to be moving back or forth.
Let's just
at all.
Keep throwing bombs into this thing until it dies.
Hey, Andromeda. I mean, Andromeda. Oh my
That's
God.
you.
I'm Andromeda. Hey, Roshin. I think you got some of that hellbore on me. Hey, Roshin. What's it look like now? To you?
What does it look like?
As your thing is still active. It looks messed up. You can see you can see the flames inside of it. You can see some of its innards, some of its flesh is like hanging off and some is burning. It doesn't obviously look dead as it is still moving around, but it looks very, very bad.
My question is, can I tell that is it not moving because it can't move because of something that is unrelated to us, or is it not moving because of my magic?
I think you see your magic taking effect. You rolled a 10. It might be both.
Okay.
You think you may have some effect on it, but it's not only that.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Hey, Gretchen, can I see your shotgun?
Absolutely.
Thanks. Hey, Andromeda, mind if I just squeeze right past you?
Be my guest.
Frankie's just gonna, like, stand 10 feet from this thing and just start fucking firing and firing until the fucking other shells are fucking empty!
Yeah.
However, Andromeda, with your consent, is gonna, like, just hold on to, like, your belt loop or something. I don't know, in case the tongue gets you.
It's fine.
Roll kick some ass.
Okay.
I'm just gonna try to brace you, is all.
Okay, perfect. Okay, here I go.
Emma.
14, bitch, what the fuck?
Man, with what that's an awesome bonus.
Alright, so oh, 6 plus 2, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Could not be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not advanced, but you still do the thing.
And I'm gonna spend my hold that I have to inflict more harm. So I'm like...
Yeah, choose the extra effect?
Yeah. Well, no, I choose the extra effect, but I have a hold here to increase the harm I do.
Oh, is that from your mundane?
Yep.
And what are you choosing as your extra effect then?
Inflict terrible harm. Or whatever, yeah.
Fantastic.
Terrible harm and more harm, so it's gonna be like 5 or 6 harm or something.
Okay, what you see, Andromeda, is you see Frankie just kind of like unloading this shotgun at this thing. And like kind of like walking a little bit closer as he does, the tongue does wrap around his stomach as it lashes out and wraps around him and begins to pull him in as he is just unloading on this thing, taking it apart. Frankie, you take 1 harm.
Yeah.
And you are going to get the 1 harm effect. You take a -1 for your next roll.
Okay.
Andromeda, what do you do?
I would like to sever the tongue
Yeah, kick some ass.
from Frankie. I just want to cut the thing off. No!
What'd you get?
I got a 5.
That's pretty bad. Okay. Here is what happens. Okay. Here's the choice you have with this. You
Great.
can do
Love
some
choices.
You can do some damage to this thing, but you are going to take a pretty strong negative effect for doing that. For kind of achieving your goal, you'll get a strong negative, or you can kind of just back off and take whatever comes, which will be lesser.
My priority... Okay, so the intent is... Frankie first, damage to this thing second.
Sure. So it's basically the choice is, are you going to take a harder consequence for yourself and help Frankie, or are you not? Are you going to take a lesser consequence to yourself and back off and not help Frankie? Are your choices?
No, I'll take
currently.
the more severe consequence to myself.
Yeah, you with your chain, it's hard to get it is a cramped place. It is not your usual fighting arena, but you grab the blade end and you stab it in as this thing you hear the same kind of bellow as it wraps around you and lets go of Frankie and pulls you in.
Okay, I could work with that.
Roshin, what do you do?
So at this point, Andromeda has actually been pulled in.
Pretty much on the cusp. Like she is like near teeth.
Okay. Do I feel... I don't know how cramped it is in here. Like, I don't know if I think I'd be able to get a shot off.
I think with your knowledge, you think you'd be able to get a shot off and hit the thing. I don't know how good of a shot you are to hit a tongue and not hit any of your friends. That is a hard shot to make.
Even with a sniper?
Well, it's near pitch black in here, and you're in a pretty tiny hall,
right?
With
It's
them
like
in between.
darkness.
And you're
Okay.
high.
Yeah, but that's like normal. Okay. I think what she will do is take out one of her God damn it, I just had it open. Take out one of her like satchels that she has. And she is going to light it and run up and toss it onto like into its mouth, aiming closer to the tongue.
Sure.
But inside of that is gonna be it's actually gonna be like willow and like cedar. It's gonna be different barks, like willow and cedar. And essentially what she's trying to do is oh my god, how do I explain this?
What are you trying to use magic or kick some ass?
Use magic.
Okay, and what is the what is the effect you're trying to accomplish here?
I am trying to cause it pain and harm to make it stop doing what it's doing to her.
Inflict harm. Okay, yeah, roll use magic.
That's a 9.
Okay, choose the glitch, and I will tell you what effect it has. It either is weakened, short duration, you take a harm, or draws attention, or has a problematic side effect.
What were the first two?
It is either weakened, has a short duration, or is a weakened. Yeah, weakened or a short duration of the two.
I don't want it to be weakened. We can say I will either take a harm or have it be a short duration, whichever will be narratively more interesting.
Harm would probably make more sense. I think as you get close, I think as you were like running up to this thing, part of the walls are now on fire as this thing is now thrashing around, kind of spitting out chunks of its own burning flesh through its cracked teeth. And you do cause harm. As its tongue... it is still holding on to Andromeda. Andromeda, you were kind of falling in as this thing's tongue loosens on you. You see Gretchen run up and kind of stab into its gums as all your friends are trying to rush to your aid in this moment. What do you do, Andromeda? You are now pretty much on the cusp of being inside this thing. Well, you kind of are falling inside this thing currently. It is... The insides are fairly destroyed and on fire currently.
Okay. So, wrapping my arm around this chain and kind of digging it, I'm going to jam it as far as I can, as hard as I can, into whatever part of the tunnel is still, like, intact.
Okay.
To try to, like, brace myself, and I'm going to try to brace my feet like on like cracked teeth or something that can keep me from getting pulled inside this mess.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just doing whatever I can to like brace myself at this point.
Okay. So you're trying to brace more than actually like escape, or are you trying to find some sort of escape here? Either way could work.
I mean, I would like to escape. The intent is that I'm bracing in case I can't escape myself.
You could act under pressure to try to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Fail. I advance.
That's fantastic.
Oh, okay. Frankie.
Oh, wait, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Frankie is going to come up running behind Andromeda and bear hug her out of there. It gives her a +2 to her roll. Pull her back with helping hand.
Nice. As you do this, like the teeth just narrowly miss Andromeda as you pull her back to the side, and some of the teeth crack further and shatter as it closes its maw. And you are now you are left on the opposite side of. You are now all in the tunnel on the opposite side of this thing. Its mouth closed, it looking severely worse for wear.
Its mouth is closed.
Its mouth is, well, as much as it can be. There are several holes where the teeth are broken or missing at this point.
Okay. Has there been any indication like how much of this creature there is in this tunnel?
Roshin gave you the amount of size. From the brief time you were inside of it, a lot of it is lit up at this point, or in some state of disarray, as this creature has been shotgunned, stabbed, burned with 2 fire bombs, and stabbed again.
Are we talking like, like 50 feet deep, or are we talking like, as far as I can see, its insides are there and it's on fire?
Yes, the second. Yeah, as far as you could see, the insides were on fire. As big as this thing was, it seemed like the effect of your firebomb, maybe enhanced with Roshin, did cover a lot of ground in this thing. It seems like it is not doing too well.
So this thing is like huge.
Yes,
huge.
Massive, pretty massive, yes.
And severely wounded.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It is, I think, a fresh round. What do you all do as you stand looking at this thing? There's now smoke, too, filling this tunnel.
Damn it.
And it smells terrible.
I mean, Frankie is just picking up the shotgun again, but he's also kind of waiting for a brief second to see if anyone's doing anything.
I think Andromeda is getting their bearings back, and I'm not sure what Roshin just threw a firebomb in, so unless either of them are doing something, it's a Frankie, he'd go.
I think the only thing Andromeda is about to do, and it doesn't matter to me really what the order is, but I think Andromeda's intent is going to try to just jam her fucking blade into this thing's head as deep as she can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is kick some ass. I have a -1.
Yes.
From the thing. From the tongue. The very bad, no good tongue.
It's very dry.
Okay. Mixed success.
Okay. Yes, it will do some harm to you. If you're just shotgunning this thing, as you walk up to it, if you don't have any further agenda other than that, I think what happens is you do some pretty sizable harm to this thing.
Yeah.
You do get some teeth chunks that shatter into you. You take 2 harm as you're pierced by these.
Okay. I'll spend some hold to reduce my harm.
Okay.
So I'm just like, I think it's like 3 harm for the shotgun.
Yeah, okay. Andromeda, this thing is beginning. There is a sizable hole in this thing. It has less teeth than more teeth at this point, as Frankie has generally destroyed them and part of its gums. This creature there is blood pooling down into the tunnel. It is not yet completely destroyed, but it looks like it is on the very cusp of being so, as far as you can tell. What do you do?
I'm gonna try to kill it.
Kick some ass.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to like take my blade and find brain.
You don't. Okay, so from this tunnel, you don't think you have good access to the brain. If you like try to peek inside the hole, you could try to throw it, or you could try to like jump and jab it up. But from your current trajectory, like being in a tunnel, its brain being like here, you don't have a path like to get up there.
Just settle.
Other than through.
Just settle for the roof of its mouth.
Yeah. Oh, if you throw it real hard, it might do good.
I guess, yeah, like whatever vulnerable, as vulnerable an opening as I can find. That's where
Sure.
I'm aiming.
Sure. Yeah, we'll kick some ass.
We'll go with that. I don't know if that means it's an eye stalk or what.
I think you kind of ascertain with Roshin's help where its like its eyes and brain is. I think you could get, like, if you ducked down, you could probably get a good angle throwing your blade up to try to pierce through would be your best
do
bet.
that. I will Wonder Woman lasso it up there.
Yeah. Yeah, roll it.
Woo!
10.
That's fantastic. What is your extra effect?
Okay, so hang on. So it's already doing a shit ton of damage.
It is doing a do not take you don't need to take up harm.
I don't need to take extra damage, so let me just make sure I'm looking at my sheet properly here. I guess +1 forward to someone else. Either that or I force them where I want them. But
Where would you want
them? I can't
them?
really force them like in a position where their brain is vulnerable.
Yeah, why
I don't
don't we
know.
do that? That one
Okay.
I like force them where you want them. So here's
Okay.
what we
Maybe what happens is I can get the hook, like the hooked blade, lodged in something, yanked with the chain.
Yeah, so here's what we kind of we see. We see Andromeda kind of like slide down into the opening to get the good angle and just chucks the blade as hard as she can, and you feel it pierce flesh and just keep going. And you yank this thing down as hard as you can. And as you do, you hear a sickening thud, and the rest of you hear shattering as the rest of the tunnel, you're a little bit farther behind her. The tunnel fills with debris and smoke. You do take 2 harm, Andromeda.
No, I don't.
Yeah, and as the smoke, the debris, the dust of the teeth shattering kind of dissipates a little bit, you see Andromeda with her skin just made of stone, just standing there as it turns back to scales. And this creature, you no longer see movement from this creature.
Frankie is just boom until it's emptied. He's like.
I did. Gretchen hands you a shell.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want one more. Okay, yeah. You're doing it, bud.
And as the debris settles and the dust kind of clears, and you see the stone kind of recede back to scales, you notice that it's the same stone that the hilt of Gretchen's sword is made of.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't so bad, now was it?
No, I mean the firebomb plan panned out.
Where she's just standing there, horrified, looking at everything that she saw that you all didn't. Yeah, that was fine.
Frankie's just covered in blood.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
And he's still teeth jammed into you.
I'm actually bleeding quite a lot. I'm unstable.
No!
Your blood is no longer on the inside.
I did what I could. I mean, I'm not I'm roughed up. Let's just put it that way.
I forgot we started this whole day with you already.
Yeah, I had-
hurt because you just came out of the hospital.
Yeah, if I didn't have that, I had 2 hold to reduce my harm by 2, so I was okay. But yeah.
I forgot about that. I'm sitting here
Otherwise, I'd literally be dead from that. Because I started with a 4 harm.
Yeah, and this creature slumps down. You can now see you still, it is covering this opening.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Now it's still a tunnel, right? Do you think it goes
Break it out?
Yeah. Well, no. Do you think it goes anywhere?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it goes somewhere. I don't know where.
Hey, Roshin, can you summon a cat that can scout for you or something? I've seen that in the D&D books. Can you
Just a regular ass cat.
yeah, no, a magical cat, or can you transform a rock into a bird that can scout for us or something? That'd be great.
I can't do that, but I'm sure I could divine a way forward to have some sense of what's where.
That'd be terrific. See where this thing sphincter leaves us, you know?
Roll it.
Roll for sphincter finding.
Roll sphincter.
No, I don't want to.
You back.
I mean, I can just walk.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. But it could get weird. Wicked weird.
It's already weird.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah. How do you divine a way forward? What do you use?
So I
You have the
think,
dowsing rods too, by the way.
yeah, I don't know for something like this if she would use those for that. I think what she would use is, I think what she would do is she would take out a pendulum and she would toss some to you all. It just looks like a satchel of like weird herbs and stuff, and she would light it, but only so that it would be like smoking, so it would kind of add to the smoke in the room, but this smells nice. And she would hold the pendulum over it to have it kind of like, I guess she's trying to figure out which she'd like to see it point in which directions there are tunnels to go down.
So what you see is, as you're doing this, is there is a large passage beyond this thing, and it looks like the body was pretty much filling up this entire passage. Not only were you binding it, but it also doesn't look like it had much space to move. Its carcass is still obviously like covering the hole a little bit, but you see as there is a tunnel behind it. And the tunnel continues on and then spirals off in 3 different directions.
Oh.
Heads down a little bit. And I think that's about as far as you can tell. You also see, you rolled very high. You also see a strange, looks to be like a oval of some sort of dark liquid on one side of the opening.
Wait. What?
It looks like an oval about 6 feet by 2 feet. It is on one opening of that this creature was in. And it looks like liquid suspended against this wall.
Like a goddamn portal?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what you see.
We should
It
go.
takes you to the marshes.
We should go in there. Immediately.
You're right,
Immediately.
right now. I think we're all in great shape for that.
Frankie's just dead on the other side.
Frankie's like, it's fine, all my bleeding's on the inside.
You did go through the 3-horn portal. That was a mistake. That's a rookie mistake.
Oak somewhere says, I hate portals.
Yeah.
Floating head. Just slides by
Yeah,
again.
that's right. Floating right by. I hate portals.
I hate portals. They're bad for your teeth.
Did Roisin see any other creatures? Like
No.
more of them?
Not with that.
What?
And you do still see the same sights as before, though. You do see things in the dirt and the mud around you, as you did before.
Did you tell us what you saw, Roisin?
Yeah.
I want to know what's on the other side of that portal.
You need
Gretchen
medical
looks-
attention.
Gretchen looks at your bloody body.
Yeah.
Should have won a night off in a pizza fest? Or
Yeah,
like-
I might be in shock, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is this finale gonna have a part 3?
No, it will not. No.
Then why is there a portal?
Because the map exists and I rolled high.
As you are continuously looking, though, you see the portal begin to drip down.
What do you mean drip down?
It said it looked liquidy. It looks like the liquid is now dripping down into the earth.
Like it's melting.
When you say dripping down into the earth, does it look like it's like the portal is either dissipating or moving?
It looks like it's hard. Yeah, it looks like it's hard to tell. For now, it just looks like it's dripping. It doesn't look like it. It does not look currently from looking at it. It doesn't look like it's getting smaller.
So it's literally just wet. Ish
Like
with
from here.
something.
Yep.
Let's look. Can you tell if it's like a viewing portal or like a transporting portal?
Didn't part of the creature, was the creature hiding it or coming out of it?
It looks like it was touching the creature in some form.
Oh,
This is a come-through portal.
the come through portal.
Wait, or
And it's water.
Or
Great. Super great. It's water.
a Fuck, words are really hard for Emma. Or it's like fuck the words. I have no idea. I don't have the words. They're not here. I'm so
leaves.
sorry.
Fuck it, I don't know.
An anchor.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. If now that it's dead, the portal's going away.
But it might not be a portal. It might just be an anchor.
It's a portal. I'm an expert.
A portal expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankie's getting lightheaded.
I'm an expert on holes. Hey!
Roll credits. End of the flashback hospital credits.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
That's right. That's right.
What mystery are we concluding here?
The 80s synth music plays as we pop out the Shadow Wolves.
My fist in the air.
In the air. As we're all high-fiving Frankie.
Yeah.
We only came here to figure out holes.
Camera pans back to the audience, which is just like...
It's to the audience that has been there the whole time.
They're like... Clap.
Welcome, Raiders. Thank you.
Thank you, Goblin Cave TV, for the raid. We are in the middle of absolutely nothing and everything all at the same time.
Yes, that's accurate.
So much.
There's a lot going on, and none of it
and everything
matters.
Oh, okay. Well,
Rasheen starts leaving.
Okay.
She's had it. She hates tunnels. She hates it here. There's too much. She's so high and she's so tired.
Okay. Rasheen begins to leave the tunnel.
Alright, I guess I won't charge into the portal! No, I'm gonna die. Be a shame if I ended up in there. Oh, gee, I'm delirious.
Gretchen is watching you like a hawk.
Alright, fine.
Unsure if you're about to just run in this portal.
Alright, fine. Take me to the hospital for the...
Take me to the hospital. Frankie passes out.
For the third time in 3 days!
I know a lot about holes. Please take me back to the hospital.
I'm actually dying.
if you did that for harm, listen, we might be dealing with a different end of this story, but Andromeda is gonna go. Portal.
You hop back into the van. You make a quick pit stop at the Silent Heart Hospital for the third time in 3 days.
The old ER pit stop.
Ah, Frankie, get back. We missed you here.
Yeah, I was literally here less than 12 hours ago. It's fine.
The frequent flyer miles. You do heal. You heal up, and the four of you fucked up.
Healing miles.
You do. You make your way back to Meaty Morsels in the dead of night.
I tried to grab bits of like tooth and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you
whatever I
grabbed.
can
You,
to,
you
like...
could have grabbed. There are some still in Frankie, I think.
They
Yeah,
just have
probably.
they just have a room permanently reserved for me.
All the attending nurses know you.
You make your way back to Meaty Morsels. It is late at night. You all retire back to your own rooms or whatever, wherever you stay in this place. And what do you all do? Do you all just pass out, or is there anything each of you do individually?
I mean, I would do some very specific writing.
Okay. What do you write?
I would write a note with information on how it went down, what happened, and the results.
Okay. We see Roisin in the basement alone, as Hector is not. You notice Hector is still not there. I think everyone is to a point of fatigue where it doesn't really fully register. But you write notes on this encounter and this creature that you have done for a good amount of time. And as we see you writing, the camera pans around Roisin. We now see a pretty overcast day. And we see Roisin standing in front of Andromeda as they talk. They both look fairly solemn and serious during this conversation. It might end with some sort of affection or a hug as Roshin turns and walks away. Andromeda, what do you do with your night?
Wait, when was that?
In the future.
Ah. Hmm. What does Andromeda do? Fuck.
Or Frankie, what do you do? Have you have it already planned? What do you do with your night?
Frankie is gonna bring out a camcorder, and he's gonna like walk around the meaty morsels, like the HQ that we got, and like do like the old 1980s like basically version of vlogging. He'd be like, "Hey, Shadow Wolves," and like he'll like find everyone like in uncomfortable positions, like Andromeda's in the bathroom, and he's like coming in.
Gretchen entertains you a little bit. She smiles and gives a brief word.
Yeah, and then he'll set it down, and he will say, "Hey, since you weren't here tonight, Hector, I'll fill you in." And he just speaks into the camera to tell to make sure that there's a document, like a recording, and yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay, and then we see Frankie vlogging into the late of night, smiling and enjoying his story, still recovering from the severe injuries of the day. Andromeda?
I'll be right back.
I think Andromeda waits up a while to see if Hector comes home.
Hector does not come home.
And at some point, with Hector not coming back, like anxiously pacing around Gretchen's room, we'll just ask Gretchen like, do you think we should worry?
I think worrying. I mean, am I worried? Yes, a little bit. Do I think we should worry? Not tonight. I mean, I don't know in the shape we're in what kind of plan we could come up with to find him. If he's not back tomorrow, I don't know, maybe Roshin can, use the rods and, steer us there or something. But I trust Hector. If he's not back, we'll figure something out. But
yeah, I don't trust Elle, though.
Sorry.
And I think the only other thing I have right now, I think, is I imagine that like the relationship that Andromeda has with like the stone of their like the stone that they can, like the stone armor kind of situation they have going on, and the relationship with the pommel on Gretchen's sword is really interesting and weird. And I imagine that the note that the letter that she has written for Gretchen is loud and like embedded in it.
okay.
In such a way that like I like the idea of it being in the sword. Like
Yeah, I think so. I think
like unscrew something or
I think we see a scene of after you guys have this conversation about worrying about Hector. I think you're either in a different room or in the bathroom, and you can do the same thing that she does. You hold out your hand and the sword appears. the very same. And as you touch the pommel, the stone begins to open up a little bit, and you place the note inside and close it back up. Before just kind of vanishing it again. And as you approach the bed, you see Gretchen is sitting on the bed, and she has a small notebook. And she's remembering a conversation earlier she had with Hector about trying to plan things further. And you see she has a very rough sketch of the monster and some notes scribbled aside. And as you come to bed, she closes the book and places it on the nightstand next to you guys. And as it fades to black, we open back up on a far older Gretchen, holding a worn and tattered note as she sits in her bed alone. What does the note say?
We talked about this.
You can message me. Apologies, it has been a couple weeks.
It's all good.
Yeah, we do still see this scene of Gretchen, much older, sitting in her bed, reading a worn and tattered note before the scene shifts one more time. Actually, two more times. We see Hector just laying asleep on this table, notes strewn out in front of him. We see a dark night, and we see a plane begin to land. As it lands, it's a very small, private, charter plane. As the door opens, we see Roisin standing holding two bags as she deplanes. She walks for a while before approaching pretty much a stone manor with two giant wooden double doors. As she opens them, there is an older man with stark white hair combed neatly, who greets her. I trust your trip was all right?
It was fine.
All right, well, make sure to settle in. I'm sure we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah. Yes.
He nods, and you walk. We see these two walk, and Roisin is not much older. As we flash forward to Gretchen, is much older. Roisin is not. Maybe a couple years from what we saw in this arc. And as they walk through this giant manor, we see a shield hanging over a mantle. And embossed on this metal shield is a gauntlet crushing a crystal as the scene fades. Hector Bartholomew, you inhale sharply as your mind reels back with this flood of memories. Your knuckles are white as they grasp Gretchen's sword. Oak, Darlene, and Lucy surrounding you, their faces and expressions beginning to come more into focus. What do you say?
I think there's
Or do?
there's a moment of him trying to catch his breath, seemingly almost on the verge of hyperventilating, as he sees Andromeda, who, if I remember correctly, is just there is a
charred
skeleton
skeleton that is hovering in the middle of this quartz crystal-esque enclosure.
Yeah.
Andromeda.
I think he will kind of fall to his knees, just kind of staring up at her, and will just say, "What have I done?"
And we cut to black as we end the night. Thank you all for joining us for our finale of this flashback arc. Go around, say, "Oh, let's do end of session for these characters, just in case." Do we conclude the current mystery? Yes, as much as you could. Did we save someone from certain death or worse? Never. Did we learn something new or important about the world? Yes. Did we learn something new or important about one of the hunters? Probably, I'd say so.
Hector.
I would say
Yeah, definitely
Roisin.
Hector.
Yep.
and Roisin too, yeah.
Yeah, and
definitely.
Roshin for sure.
But yeah, yeah.
So 2 XP.
I advance.
Me?
Old
too.
Hector. You advance young Hector.
Young Hector advance. But hey, it gives me
Hey.
more options for it. Well, also, this is a good opportunity to discuss what are we doing? What I'm selfishly, what am I doing with everything?
So as we discussed, I've talked to everyone privately off stream, but as for completing this arc, everyone has the ability to send something or a move forward to these new characters. It could
Or we...
be
Oh, sorry, God. I don't do.
it could be a move, it could be an item, it could be whatever. I gave all the players an option. They will not come up immediately as we play next time, but they will slowly be dripped in.
When are we talking about that? When do we say that?
Everyone is. I think some of you have messaged me privately, and you can continue to do so, and I will add those in to the story going forward.
Oh, okay.
Or if you have like a specific, I want my this character to kind of have that move, you can tell me, and I will work it into the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wasn't... Yeah, okay, cool.
Does that make sense? Does that answer
Yeah.
your question?
Yeah. I'm not sending anything for Oak, though. I'm not sending it to Oak.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oak's got enough going on.
Okay, and so everyone go ahead and say your name, where we can find you, and your favorite moments.
I'll go first. Hello, everyone. I am Maria. I played young Hector, and next time I'll play old Hector, and we'll be sad again. Again. You can find me on the internet at Happy Capster, pretty much anywhere the internet is sold. I stream on my own Twitch channel 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. What else are we doing? I'm on Twitter mostly. I kind of have a TikTok. That's all I do these days. Mythos Mystery Society. I'm also over there. We might be doing Cyberpunk this weekend.
Maybe.
Stay tuned. We do things there. And I'm also part of Goblin Society Games. We are planning our next release that should supposedly come out in about a week or so. So keep an eye posted at Guys Society Goblins for more things that we're doing. My favorite moment was just that the last like 2 minutes, kind of jumping back and forth between what these like little flashes of what people were doing either in the future or kind of in the present. Frankie making that tape actually was like the honed in, like that really hit me, and I really liked it. It was very good. I'll toss it over to Matthew.
Hi, folks. I am Matthew Foreman. Tonight I played Frankie Hart. I'll play Oak Williams next time you see me. Yeah, I switched the overlay at the end. Yep, sure did. The drama. Yeah, and you can find me here on Twitch TV/DicePrior, where I GM and play games. And you can also find me on Twitch TV/Matt Foreman, MattForeman, where I stream Dead by Daylight Tuesdays through Fridays as a survivor. Come learn how to loop with me as I learn how to loop and juke the killer. And I'm going to show you how to do non-meta things. You're not going to have to rely on Iron Will and meta perks. I'll teach you how to, you'll learn at least by my failures how to play the game somewhat decent. It's a good time. And I rage the shit out whenever my teammates let me die on hook. It's real fun. And yeah, my favorite moment... I mean, I was really happy just to murder that fucking worm finally. Like, get that the fuck out of here. Big old 50,000 pound piece of shit. Bam, bam, bam. And also starting and forgetting Frankie's accent was fucking pure gold. That was a perfect retro moment. I'll toss it over to Emma.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter. You can find me here. You can find me over at Mythos Mystery Society, and I guess there may be a game this weekend, possibly. And next week I will be back as Lucy Doe, our favorite sad dead lady. So let's see. Favorite moment from tonight. Golly gee. I really, the Sad Squad. There's our name.
That's a good
it's our
team name. The
unofficial
Sad
name.
Squad.
I think that there were two moments. One of them was actually when at the end when Frankie was like, "Let's go through the portal." But no, someone take me to a hospital. That was good, but also the moment that Roisin finally was able to see the size of this creature, and just imagining all of us, these tiny people, in front of this incredibly large subterranean beast. I thought that was great and horrifying. And that's me. Alexis, I think you need to go. Is it you? Is that who's left? Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alexis. You can find me at Fox Finato on Twitters and here, where I do things like make these overlays and, generally be around and stream when I can with these lovely folks, and also on Cold Suns on Saturdays, which is a lot of fun. My favorite moment, oh gosh, there's a lot that have already been mentioned, but I really loved seeing Roisin put those nails with their runes and into a mundane bomb, because I liked the idea of just we're just gonna toss some gasoline in there and light it on fire, but as that all came together, and I think Roisin really elevated it by adding that with Emma putting those little touches in there, and I think that was really elevated, or just roughshod, blow it up maybe kind of plan. And I loved the descriptions and all of that, and I also loved that it had eye stalks. I don't know, I just found that great. yeah That's all of us, right?
Yep.
Ty!
I gotta go. Yeah. I'm Ty. You can find me here. You can find it at Mythos Mystery Society, where I think just Cyberpunk. We're not playing tomorrow, but we did start our new Arkham Horror cycle, the Innsmouth Conspiracy. We are starting episode 4 next week. Next Wednesday, we'll be doing episode 4. My favorite moment from tonight. There were a lot that were mentioned that I really liked. I think I liked overall that for the last episode, despite this whole arc being very Hector-centric, obviously, it was mainly the three others that finishing the fight, or having a fight and having the moment to themselves. And I think, Hector just made a bad decision somewhere else, and I enjoyed that as a last episode. I think that was very fitting.
Yeah, I think that was exceptionally poignant in the trajectory of where Hector ended up. That the rest of the people that he cared about were off doing something that was death-defying and could have ended tragically, and he was back over here with someone that probably shouldn't be terribly trusted, whom he put all of his trust in immediately because they're study buddies. Choices. They were made.
Hats off to Maria for playing into that so heavily. It's I know what you're doing, Maria.
Yep. It's just me, myself, I wanted to be in that tunnel so bad, but I know Hector would just not at all.
I also really enjoyed Hector's last line. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had so many things I crossed out, and that was
Looks
That
like
was
a-
like a side. Well, here's the thing. I had so many things thought out for like what would Hector say, and like it's just in a margin here of like some thoughts that he might have had in his head at the time, and it was the last thing I wrote. And I was like, why
It
not?
was good. It was a really
Yeah.
good one. I liked it.
Sad squad.
Back to Sad Squad.
Back-
Next
back to Sad
the
Squad.
future with the Sad Squad.
To the
next
future.
week.
Did you say everything you wanted to say, Ty?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you are following us here at Dice Priority. Consider subscribing, bits, and all that stuff. We really, really appreciate you. You'll see our next program on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central for Cold Suns. And look out for Call of Cthulhu on Mondays whenever we get that going. And Ghost of the Machine will come back eventually. Alright, we're going to raid So Many Games. He is our purveyor of merch here. And y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.